I have learned some valuable lessons this week. So, number one, for whatever reason, when I am trying to record, I now know that the microphone that I use for our introduction stuff needs to be plugged into the first USB port on my laptop. Otherwise, my editing software won't recognize the microphone. Number two is that we have a recording device. It's a portable device that we take with us, and it has an SD card, 64 gigs on there, so there's plenty of room. And what I do is in the past, I've come home, I've uploaded all of the files to a folder on my desktop. And then as the weeks go on, I just take the interviews off of that. Well, I was traveling this week, and I was listening to some of the recordings we had done, and I was doing some editing while I was driving. Not in an unsafe way, but I had my SD card plugged in, and I was listening for audio levels and just making mental notes of things that I wanted to clean up. And then I was going to attach that interview to the segments that we had already recorded, and also for the pre-show that we always do. And when I was at said place of employment that day, I had put my computer in my backpack. There's like a little sleeve for computers to go into. And I went to heat up some food because it was a 4.5 hour drive home. And so I had made some Filipino food to take home with me. And my bag fell over, and the SD card that was sticking out the side broke in half, and we lost all of our recordings from ADHA's annual conference. On those recordings, we had Raphael Rondon, Mr. RDH, and that was the second time that we've lost his recording. And he thinks that we're picking on him, but I can't tell you how dumb and stupid I feel right now because I didn't upload all of this stuff already and have it saved onto my computer. And even then, what if my computer was to crash? I should have uploaded it to the cloud somewhere. And so, having said all that, the misadventures of Andrew and Michelle continue to play out here on episode 80 or whatever we're on now. And we had 6 weeks worth of awesome content that, including our annual ADHA review with the leadership. That was a phenomenal one with Betty and Tammy, but that won't be heard, probably. So, having said all of that, what we are doing, though, is we are sending the SD card off to have a company look at it to see if they can extract some of the data off of it. They probably can't because one of the cells, so it's basically a 64 gig has two 32 gig cards inside of the thing, and one of those broke completely in half. So they say that they have been able to recover data from a hard drive that has been set on fire, and then the fire, oh my gosh, whatever, I can't even think about it. The firemen and women, fire people, when they're extinguishing the flames, all their water, all of the water from the hoses doused the hard drive as well. And they said they were still able to salvage it. So we will see if that's true, but give us some time. In the meantime, for this episode, it's just going to be our intro and outros and our segments like we had already planned to do, minus the amazing interview that we had with Jenny. It really was a good interview, and I'm really hoping that we can salvage it. If not, I'm sure we will get her on again to talk about it, but it was just really good. And then we are going to be working on some other things to kind of fill in the gap in the meantime. We do have a trip coming up to Montana in July, and so that's just a couple weeks away, and we will be recording some more live interviews there and hopefully having some sort of a round table of sorts at that point. Also, we will be at RDH Under One Roof, and that's going to be a big one. So we are planning on having about 20 episodes recorded at that time. So I think we'll be a little bit more prepared on that one. I'll make sure that I upload everything to the cloud that same day. We won't have any more snafus, but like I said, the misadventures of Andrew and Michelle continue, and we continue to learn more and more as time goes on. And we appreciate you guys hanging in there and being patient. For the person that left the iTunes review that asked for a time when the interview will be going, because I know you guys wanted us to write that maybe in the show notes or something like that, I will tell you right now, you can go ahead and just skip this one since there is no interview. All right? Have a good week, everybody.
Get ready for your unofficial dental hygiene podcast. These are the tales of two hygienists, one East Coast RDH and one West Coast hygienist. Listen as they tackle the profession of dental hygiene with humor and enthusiasm. Now, please join Michelle Strange and Andrew Johnston as they tell you a tale of two hygienists.
Oh, it hurts my brain. So anyway, welcome to the podcast. Episode...
Whose dumb idea was it to wake up this early to record a podcast?
That would be your idea that was brought to you because you procrastinated, and this is your punishment.
Oh, it makes it worse that you're so chipper and happy.
I've already been to the gym. I have done like an hour and a half of workout. I had pre-workout, and now I'm drinking coffee. Boop, boop. Wake it up, Andrew. Come on.
I wish everyone could see you do that. Because I know that you don't really feel that way. I feel like you're just rubbing it in just to piss me off even more.
It's like kind of funny that I see that you're lagging behind and I instantly feel pepped up.
Oh,
I mean,
I know. Like my misery just gives you the juice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what episode is this?
Oh, okay. Let me start caring. Hold on.
Yeah, please start caring. If you could do that, then we get through this faster. You go to work. I do my webinar. Like, our day gets going since this is not our full-time job.
Let's call this episode 80, although I'm not really for sure. It might only be 79. Incorrect.
Anyway, this episode is the one that we're recording after ADHA.
Yes, we are. That sounded happy, didn't it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Good job. You're coming around.
Thank you.
We're waking up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we had a really great time. I think this is probably one of my favorite ADHAs.
It is definitely my favorite ADHA for sure.
The convention center can suck it, and that's from an exhibitor standpoint, but from a actual attendee standpoint and podcasting standpoint, it was great.
Wait, the actual hall, like the building itself from a podcasting standpoint, sucked also.
Yeah.
Remember all the drip, 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 drip? That part sucked.
Hopefully you don't hear that on our recordings, but
right. You'll hear us complain about it plenty, though.
Of our sessions.
That's true. It did. But also, you're right, though, in the fact that like there was a quieter place for us to hang out.
Yeah.
And do our thing.
Yeah,
and,
that was nice.
The ADHA staff was pretty good about accommodating us with tables.
Oh, yeah, they were so helpful with that. We appreciate y'all.
It was... Do you remember... I don't think we ever got a picture of our studio set up. I wish everyone could see that. It's so funny. It was kind of in the
background of a lot of pictures. But we stole, like, a bunch of the poster... Like, if you walk on any of the convention floors and you see poster presentations and you see the board that they're tacked to, and they're kind of, like, padded, we took, like, 4 of those and built our own little studio with a table inside. It was really official.
It was... I mean, it seemed like something that I would for sure do, being as ghetto as I am. That's what it was. It was pretty trashy.
I think I tried to see you take one of those home so you could make your own podcasting studio in your room.
I did. It didn't work.
It was not a carry-on.
That ADHA staff was pretty on it. So
yeah, they were. We appreciate them for that, and we saw all of our favorites. And then we also met a lot of listeners, and that was so fun. We love that. Well, at least I know there was quite a few that came up and was like, hey, I just wanted to say hi. Like, thank you so much. I hope that no one ever thinks that we are anything important and they wouldn't come up to talk to us because of that.
Don't confuse yourselves there.
Yeah. We are just amateurs that are winging it. And so we love that you come up and treat us like normal people because, I mean, we couldn't be any less like I don't know, movie star. Like, somebody was like, I don't want to mess with you. I don't want to bother you. It's like,
yeah.
Who am I? Like, who cares?
Yeah. Michelle's definitely nobody. And there, to the one listener that we met at the Afterglow party that was in line,
Yes.
hi. I don't think that we ever got back to her, and I don't know what happened there. I think we just all got busy. But hi, and sorry we didn't get a chance to talk more.
Yes.
You want to tell the story quickly about Leslie?
And then, so right now we're recording at 9 a.m. my time, 6 a.m. Andrew's time. So, because again, he procrastinated, and these are our options. So I'm drinking coffee, not wine. Otherwise, I would be drinking the amazing bottle of wine that our dear, dear listener, Leslie, brought to me from Belgium. She is finally here in the U.S. She's been listening to us probably the longest and the most faithfully. And we got to meet her and hang out with her and talk with her. She's precious. I want to put her in my pocket and take her everywhere, but can't do that. She's great. And so
I don't think that
really,
she'd appreciate that either.
I have like these little gems of people that I meet in my life. I just like want to shrink them down and put them in my pocket and then pull them out when I want to have a hangout session.
Let's start a list of those. I feel like Daniel would be in that list.
Daniel's already there, even if he wants to be or not.
Yeah, poor guy.
Can we talk about your jealousy of my buddy and I? We were sharing ice cream together. It was beautiful.
We'll definitely get to that. It's just so weird to hear you like saying all the words properly, and like I don't know. I don't know who you are right now is what I'm saying. Like, you're not slurring your words or anything like that. It's very incredible.
The other night, we've discussed about our extra projects that you and I are kind of branching off and doing our own little podcasting things too. And I had my first recording the other night, and I slurred one thing, and I was like, that's not because I've had too much wine. That's because I need more wine.
To get you coherent.
Yeah. There's a happy little middle ground there. But I'm really super pepped up on coffee.
You are pepped up. So let's talk about my jealousy things, because I don't have jealousy issues, even though I kind of do a little bit. And this all comes from our manager, Mike. So I remember a story as a kid. I don't remember exactly when this happened, but I had a friend, I think it was Nathan, and we used to go out and build forts in the desert. And when I mean build forts, it means we used to like arrange rocks like in the desert, like the sand, and like this is where our clubhouse would be here. And like there was no three-dimensional, it was just two-dimensional. No, it was terrible. But what do you expect? So I remember one time Mike was, I don't know if he was playing with like, because Nathan had an older sister, I think it was Mike's age or something like that or whatever. And I'd always accuse Mike of stealing my friends. I'm like, I just want to have my own friends. Like you always want to like hang out with them and like be so cool because he's the older brother and blah, blah, blah. And so now I'm just having flashbacks where I have these friends, which I notice though that they're all male, Michelle. So
I work better
specifically
with
Daniel. I know, but you can't steal all my friends. Like you can be friends with them too, and that's okay.
You're friends with my friends.
But don't be better friends than me.
I brought you Angie Stone. You're welcome.
And don't show me up. Well, that is really good.
You're welcome.
But I feel like, thank you. I feel like, with Angie, I gave her a big old hug after her race.
Yeah.
And she was all sweaty. And I was like, I love every bit of this. And I know she's like, no, I'm all sweaty, gross. I'm like, no, I need this. Like, don't take this away from me, please. Like, that's how needy I am for friends. So, just throwing that out there as well.
Yeah. Well, we've definitely talked about it in the past, how unapproachable I am and how the 98% of our population, our professional population is female. So you have all of those friends because they're, for whatever reason, I'm unapproachable.
We'll try.
I'm going to grab hold of all of the male hygienists. That's
all 2% of them to be friends with. Yeah.
So we have a really fun interview that we did while at ADHA. And actually, it has inspired me. I think we need a roundtable on this. So she is a ADT, Advanced Dental Therapist in Minnesota.
Correct.
And I know that there are quite a few of these models, depending on the state that you're in. And we want to hear from you. Like, if you are a mid-level provider in some way or something in one of your states, or you have something outside of the, like, even with you, Andrew, like you do restorative, like we have your perspective, so I guess we don't really need another unless it's super different from Andrew's perspective. But if you're doing anything like the mid-level provider, we want to hear from you because we really want to have like a roundtable session, and let's look at all the different models and what that looks like geographically and what you're allowed to do within your scope of practice. I think it's really fascinating because I personally learned quite a bit about that model, and also its history and how it's just kind of built upon where it started quite a few years ago. And I think so it was great. So we appreciate that.
I really liked it too. I mean, just being a restorative hygienist, it's I guess that would be considered my next step if I was to do something like that. One thing I do want to make clear for all the listeners is Jenny did a great job on the podcast, but she wanted to be very clear that she does not speak on behalf of anybody. These are her own opinions, and this is her own understanding of different things. So, let's not crucify her if she said something that was an opinion that you guys don't agree with. I feel like
don't do that with anyone anyway. People.
Yeah, but there's just so many different models, and there's so many different tracks of the way that this could be made. And I know in your different states that it looks maybe completely different. And so just be understanding to that when you're listening to what her experience has been so far. But she did a really good job. She spoke at ADHA. She has a lot of really good, solid information. Enjoy this interview with Jenny Berge. Listeners, I want to tell you a story I found on the web, which makes this Scaling the Web with Andrew. All right, so this week, Scaling the Web. It has been a lot of weeks since we've done this. So
sorry, guys.
It's Michelle's fault. I have two things that I want to talk about specifically today because I have so many things like backlogged. Number one, there's a website out there called Netflix. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that one. Netflix.com.
I heard that one.
Anyways, there are two things I want you guys to start binge watching. One is Frasier, because I just started it again, and it's freaking killing me. And I'm like, how did I miss Frasier for all these years? Number two is it's called Oh, Hello, Broadway. And it is Nick Kroll and who's the other one, honey? Starts with the M. Mulaney, right?
Yeah. John Mulaney. I've seen him in stand-up. He's hilarious.
Oh my gosh! So as a premise to this, it's a stupid funny thing. It's not like rapid fire funny. And if you don't understand, like if you've never seen Mulaney or Nick Kroll before, you're probably not going to appreciate it as much. But I'll tell you what, it was seriously one of the funniest things I've seen in forever. It did take me like 4 days to get through just because it's kind of a longer one. But they're playing these characters, these old men characters, and they do a Broadway show, and they just kind of tell about this fictional life that they live. Anyways, so there's that. But my real kind of hygiene applicable.
Thank God. I was like, please tell me this isn't your Scaling the Web, Andrew. We will never do another AM podcast.
Hey. Oh, we will. Okay. And I'll have to put this in the show notes, the link to this, because it's kind of long. I'll read it anyways, because some people are weird and will want to do this. But it's adha.org/resources-docs/2016-2017 _ADHA _annual _report.pdf. So basically, this is the annual report for the ADHA.
And I'm not going to read it all, but basically there are three people that are presenting on this. So you have your president, the CEO, and the COO. So Betty Cable was the president. She's no longer the president, but this is her report. Ann Bottrell is the CEO, and Bob Moore is the COO. And so they one of the things that ADHA wanted to do was be a little bit more focused. And you'll hear about this, I think, in next week's episode. I think Betty made reference to it a couple times, but they wanted to kind of pare down a bunch of things and quit giving so much kind of fluff and filler content. And so on this annual, yeah, exactly. So with this annual report, it talks about there's the new strategic plan that they've been working on for the last year. And here are the goals. And I kind of want to I want to just read these 3 goals, and then you guys can go through and read about all the different stats about how successful are the webinars, and what does membership look like, and all that. So they're very pretty good about explaining all that stuff. So goal number 1 for the ADHA is support dental hygiene professionals throughout their careers. They want to develop resources to support dental hygienists on their current and future career pathways and provide access to professional resources. 2, strengthen the ADHA infrastructure. Ensure ADHA has financial, operational, and human resources to support the strategic plan. And they go into that specifically a little bit later on of what they've done financially, and I know Betty did talk about it on our next episode as well. Ensure unity across ADHA's tripartite governance structure. Develop and foster a robust leadership pipeline. 3, advocate for the profession. Target and support state and federal advocacy efforts that advance direct access and the role of dental hygienists. Support advancement of education programs that best prepare dental hygiene professionals for current and evolving scope of practice and settings. Foster constituent and member usage of ADHA's advocacy information. And so the one that I am kind of glomming onto on this whole entire thing that you guys have heard me say before is the one where it says support advancement of education programs that best prepare dental hygiene professionals for current and evolving scope of practice and settings. That's if there's anything else in the this whole entire thing that I want them to get done, it's always education, and it's always getting everyone on the same playing field right out of the gate.
I was listening.
So that's it.
Sorry, I was listening to Accidental Geniuses this morning, and it's one of their Chicago midwinter roundups, and it was Mike Detola.
This is an old one?
Yeah, it's Mike Detola, Joshua Austin, and then Alan Mead was on there, and they were talking about something about anesthesia, and Dr. Austin is in Texas, and Dr. Detola was like, wait a second, y'all can't give anesthesia there? Like, what? Like, he was baffled that was still a thing, and it really is unfortunate. And I thought his response was hilarious, because he was like, what kind of pretentious dentist do you have there that think that you can't teach a hygienist to give anesthesia? I mean, the bottom 15% of dental school can give anesthesia, but your incredibly intelligent hygienist can't. Doesn't make sense. Yeah. So, high five to you for that response, Dr. Dola. I sent him a message, none like it's saying. I was like, I'm going to give you a high five.
And we'll end on that.
Okay, good job.
It's about that time. Grab your blanket and a glass of wine. It's story time with Michelle.
So this time, story time with Michelle is sans alcohol, because it's 9:30 a.m., which I'm not opposed to. Mimosas are great, but here I am. I got to work after this. Okay, so...
I had a dream that I drank alcohol last night.
Don't tease me, Andrew.
Oh, I'm never going to. I won't, but...
We already made a pact that it will happen in my presence. Like, if it ever happens outside... Like,
if it ever happens...
You will be dead to me.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, I think that we're fine with that. And honestly, this morning, like, I don't swear a lot. I don't know that I swear out loud ever, but in my brain I swear all the time. And I almost wanted to swear at you for it being so early in the morning. So I just want to let you know that I'm feeling dark right now. I'm just throwing that out there.
This is not my fault. This is your fault.
No, I know. I'm not blaming you.
Okay.
I'm blaming the situation.
So
I'm at the situation,
I
not
know
you.
it's been a hot second since we've done this segment. So I just want to remind everyone that we are still going through the chapters of the book Communication Skills for Dental Health Care Providers, because I think it's very important. And we're on chapter 5. I did skip chapter 4 because I think chapter 5 is really a good one, and it's improving verbal skills, which, I mean, I need to learn how to do, and I think we all could take a little tidbit. So I first wanted to start with why verbal skills matter. So verbal communication is simply any form of communication relying on words, spoken or written. The presence of words distinguishes verbal and nonverbal communication, but the difference is even more profound. Words are always arbitrary symbols associated with a particular meaning by a particular social group. Verbal communication skill, therefore, requires learning words, learning their associated meaning, and learning how to put them together in a comprehensible way. By contrast, nonverbal communication also includes biologically based, non-arbitrary signs, such as perspiring with fear, making it more spontaneous than verbal communication. In short, because all verbal communication must be learned, people vary widely in their ability to understand and express verbal messages. The educational requirements for a career in dentistry ensure that providers have high verbal comprehension skills, but they can vary in their ability to express themselves verbally and adjust their verbal expression to match the comprehension level of the given patient. Research is lacking on any association between oral health and verbal skills of either patient or provider. Research does, however, indicate significant positive associations between education in oral health and oral health literacy. Compared to those with some college education, adults with less than a high school education can face a threefold increase in caries and untreated periodontal disease. Research also documents that healthcare is less effective when patients and providers do not share the same language. These findings suggest that patients with poorer verbal skills may have less access to dental care and may receive less effective care when they do have access. By speaking to patients at a level they can comprehend and by providing information that ultimately increases patients' oral health literacy, dental professionals can enhance patient care and minimize the patient and provider frustrations that arise from limited mutual understanding. So I'm going to just kind of skip through really fast to where it talks about oral health literacy. So in recent decades, the medical establishment has grown aware of the problem of low health literacy among patients. The U.S. Department of Education estimates that only 12% of English-speaking American adults possesses sufficient health literacy skills. Literacy is the ability to understand written information, but health literacy is more than the ability to understand written information about health. Healthy People 2010 defined health literacy as the degree to which individuals have the capacity to obtain, process, understand basic health information, and services needed to make appropriate health decisions. The conceptualization of health literacy includes written health literacy, but also comprehension of spoken information and numeracy, which is the ability to understand health information involving numbers. In a healthcare system of increasing complexity, sufficient health literacy is necessary for patients to make appointments, fill out forms, understand the elements of consent, ask appropriate questions, evaluate oral and written sources of information, understand diagnoses and treatment options, and read and understand prescriptions, medical records, and insurance forms. So Healthy People 2020 listed 3 objectives related to health literacy. 1, increase the proportion of persons who report that their healthcare provider always gave them easy-to-understand instructions about what to do to take care of their illness or health condition. I do have a funny story. I had a doctor that was like, that's idiopathic. We're not really sure. And she's like, did you just call me an idiot? I was like, so there's those verbal skills. Like, we want to use our big words to each other, but we need to, like, not everybody understands what idiopathic means. 2,
Right.
Increase the proportion of persons who report that their healthcare provider always asks them to describe how they will follow the instructions. And that is actually what we do for our mission trips. We make sure, especially with the translator, that we say it to the translator. The translator says it back to us. Then the translator tells it to the patient, and the translator has to have the patient say it back to them. It takes a really long time, but to make sure that the patient is taking medications and understands what's happening to them is imperative in those kind of situations, and also all medical,
And I like how it says how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's not just like, okay, repeat after me.
Right.
I will brush my teeth.
Don't parrot
You know what I mean? It's like how will you do it?
Do this? Right. And 3, increase the proportion of persons who report that their healthcare providers always offered to help fill out a form. And so I'm just going to go back to this, at the very end, I found that there's a lovely little checklist that kind of really summarizes versus me reading you the entire chapter. And so when we look at verbal communication goals, you want to take an educational approach to patient communication to develop an effective long-term relationship. We want to have task-focused communication. So educate the patient by providing accurate information regarding oral health care. We want to praise a patient who researches oral health issues, but tactfully correct misinformation acquired from other individuals or media sources. This screams coconut oil to me right now. We want to promote oral health by providing accurate information. And again, that's us staying current, because we can't give accurate information if we're behind the times. Present scientific findings, but also suggest experience-based and common-sense ways of integrating healthy dental behaviors into everyday life. Stop screaming flossing to every individual. I paraphrased that, but that's what that says to me. Explain procedures at least 3 times. So during treatment planning, before the treatment begins, and as the treatment is underway. I know that sounds tedious and unnecessary, but you'd be really surprised what happens if you do that. We also want to do emotion-focused communication. So express empathy by identifying the patient's emotions and responding appropriately. We want to empathize, there we go, to a degree that allows for identification with patient feelings, but that avoids emotional involvement. We want to self-monitor empathy levels daily and express empathy both verbally and non-verbally. We want to discuss risk of procedures as a way of minimizing anxiety. Avoid promises to eliminate pain. I think that's important. And avoid fear appeals, relying instead on positive reinforcement. That's something I struggle with because I'm really good at fear mongering and shaming. I'm really good.
Oh, I know.
Encourage the patient through praise in his or her efforts to change poor oral health behaviors. Facilitate trust by eliciting and validating the patient's concerns, and then facilitate trust by expressing a willingness to abide by patient's decisions. And then communication strategies. The Healthy People 2020, they suggest always give easy to understand instructions. Always ask the patient to describe how he or she will follow the instructions. Always offer to help fill out forms. We want to create a respectful and shame-free environment. Periodically assess the practice.
Can you repeat that one? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Shame-free. I need somebody actually to define that for me. So good at it. I blame my childhood. Use clear and plain language. Encourage questions and discussion. Use the teach back and teach to goal method. Offer take-home tools and brochures. And then remember there is an acronym called SPEAKS, and this is a strategy. So you want to use language comprehensible at the patient's level of understanding. You want to include pictures and illustrations. You want to occasionally use proper dental terms and explain what they actually mean. Use short words and sentences, active voice, and specific phrases. That's S. That's simplify your language. The P is paint an accurate picture. So avoid the temptation to exaggerate consequences. You know, you don't get your periodontal disease under control, you're going to die of a heart attack. Paint an accurate picture.
I mean, that's motivating for sure,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's how we want to do it.
So we're going to paint an accurate picture, rely on smile and metaphor to relate dental conceptions to everyday objects. The E is express concerns. So explain in simple words and illustrations which problems are observed and are anticipated. If the patient is unable to give consent, do not frighten the patient, but instead express concerns privately to the caregiver. A is allow time. Listen up on this one. Allow time. Permit adequate appointment time to describe observations and concerns, question the patient, and elicit questions and concerns from the patient. K is keep calm, avoid verbal alarms that can increase patient anxiety, avoid dental terminology that can trigger panic, and speak slowly and modulate the speaking tone by breathing deeply before speaking. And then S is self-disclose. Reveal a bit of personal information on a neutral topic to lend some humanity to the patient's perception of you. So all really wonderful suggestions, I think, for relating to the patient and verbal skills. So that's it for Story Time with Michelle, sans wine.
Nice. You know, I want to add one quick thing before we end this segment. The thing is, like, that's a lot of information. And my advice would be go ahead and start picking, you know, one or two of those and start working on it and start making a list of things that you want to get better on. Because this is definitely going to be a journey for a lot of us, myself included, trying to change the way we do it. So,
well, I think a lot of it is also just do a little self-reflection before you even try to implement these things. Because, like I said, I see now that, you know, I got to learn like the compliment sandwich where, you know, it's like, oh, you're doing great here. Oh, we could work on here. But look how great you're doing over here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm real quick because I'm also like super focused a lot of times, and I need to slow myself down and like engage the patient versus like, what happened here? Your mouth is a hot mess. What did we not learn anything last time? You know, like I'm very quick at going. I've always said I don't come from a place of love with my initial reaction to things.
Yeah.
So I'm learning. Man.
I want you to clean my teeth so bad.
Are you saying that your mouth would be a hot mess?
I don't know. I feel like it's not.
We should do that and record it. We should clean each other's teeth and then record it.
I feel like you would nitpick like every little thing.
Oh, absolutely. All
right. Well.
Okay. Well, this was a good one.
That was a good one.
Thanks for waking up at the crack of dawn for you.
Thanks for allowing me to wake up at the crack of dawn. I don't know. Never mind.
Stop speaking.
But,
okay, we're good now.
All right. Have a great week, everyone.
Everybody have a great week. Bye, y'all.